Zuma is removing 18 parliamentarians out of the parliament.
And this is what is happening in the MK. Said a senior leader of the MK who asked not to be named. Those of some of those MPs who are going to be axed, some of the names that I see here is Nomando Mkwebu, Tamsanga Kuzwayo, Isaac Minyatso, Senzo Dlamini, Nompumelelo Gaza, Lungisani Shangani, Nombehle Mkize, and Lesego Khatebe. Okay, so I'm going to continue with a whole lot more articles that I've just been picking up, okay? So there's bickering happening within the MK, and of course, Duduzile.
Abanye benu bayokhala amazwi lawo ashiwo umongameli womkhonto wesizwe esaselaphaya eqenjini asuka kulona.
Uma ungathi nje kukhona omaziyo thina bakhona ke sibaziyo because amanye ama-cadres sisebenzile nawo amanye sesiwabongela. Congrats namhlanje it's a history.
All right, man, welcome to it. This is another episode of the Free Ride Podcast. I'm back once again. This is our brand new studios, man. This is where we're going to be doing most of our productions right here. And of course, I'm so glad to be back. And thank you very much to all of you who have been liking, sharing, posting, and commenting on our podcast, man. Please make sure that you click on the subscribe button. Let's make sure that this channel grows so that I can continue to give you the latest about what's happening in government, what's happening in our politics, what's happening in the continent, what's happening in South Africa, what's happening in Johannesburg. And of course, I want to keep you updated and tell you what is going on and share my views. And of course, you're allowed to do the same. You can comment on our platform. So big ups to all of you who keep liking. So here's how it goes, all right? Today's episode is inspired by what's happening in the country and of course in Parliament. We just woke up to find out that Umsholozi, the MK, has just recalled a whole number of MPs and asking them to come back. And of course, there's so much drama happening in the MK. So I'm going to tell you all about it. So first of all, this article says the former president, Jacob Zuma, led political parties continuing to ruthlessly wield an axe on its officials. This time, the guillotine landed on about 20 of the party's members of parliament. The party sent the MPs letters of dismissals. The letters were dished out by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Thoko Didiza, following an instruction from the MK party to chop and change MPs. All right, so Didiza, in the letter, axing MPs stated that she received correspondence from the MK party's chief whip, Sihle Ngubane, right? So Sihle, she said that the letters indicate that those MPs' memberships were terminated by the party and that they are fired, right? The number of MPs were fired on Wednesday through letters signed by Didiza. Today is Saturday, so they were fired on Wednesday, right? So the insiders within the party claim that that there is a discord within Zuma's party. Those who were fired were accused of hijacking a list that was sent to the IEC. There is drama here, and many people are still going to be fired. These people within the party are fighting each other. There is a strong cabal led by people aligned to Duduzile, Zuma, and her cheerleaders, which is out for blood. Those who are fighting against what they say find themselves in a smoking fire, they get to be dealt with, and many will still fall. Being in the MK party is like being in a war-torn country. Remember what happened in Afghanistan during a war. People were being dealt with. And this is what is happening in the MK. Said a senior leader of the MK who asked not to be named. Those of some of those MPs who are going to be axed, just some of the names that I see here is Nomando Mgwebu, Tamsanga Kuzwayo, Isaac Minyatso, Senzo Dlamini, Nompumelelo Gaza, Lungisani Shangani, Nombehle Mkize, and Lesego Khatebe. Okay, so I'm going to continue with a whole lot more articles that I've just been picking up, okay? So there's bickering happening within the MK, and of course, Duduzile's name comes up often, and apparently, Utata is not even aware of this. I don't know how true that is. I mean, he's a chess player. He knows exactly what's happening in the MK, so that there's no way that he doesn't know Gorgwetsa Galang, right? So, Utuduzile is in the center of all of this, and of course, the boyfriend has been sent out. Did I just say boyfriend? I don't know if the rumor is true. Ntlamulo is actually the boyfriend. But let's hear it from Ntlamulo because he's out here defending what's happening. Let's hear it from Ntlamulo. Let's go.
Now from Ntlamulo Ndlela, who we understand is on the line. Joining us now, he's the spokesperson for the MK party. Ntlamulo, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. What's happening?
Good afternoon to yourself and good afternoon to your viewers. What is happening here is, let's look at the genesis of what transpired. Our candidate list leading up to the elections was compromised by individuals who were given a responsibility to populate the list according to the name that they were given. Instead, and as is the case with an organization such as ourselves, there's always going to be infiltration and people doing their own things. And they went and captured names in that list that were not reflective of the instructions that were given to them. Now, we've opened up a case also with regards to this, and we opened up the case immediately after discovering this. And this is obviously after the deadline of the submission, because we were misled in terms of the names that were submitted. People were putting in their friends, family, and even certain neighbors of society, members of society who are their neighbors. Now, let's come back now to what transpired. Leading up to the swearing in. Now, the swearing in, the members were informed that they were going to be replaced, and this is what had transpired. And they had two options. One, you get sworn in, and again, it's going to be at a temporary measure because you're going to be replaced, or you are not sworn in. Majority, and in this case, all of them got sworn in. And I'm talking 12 members, okay? The 6 other names were either people that were supposed to be sworn in or couldn't be sworn in because they were either of ill health or incapacitated in some way or another. So the names that we're replacing, yes, it's 18. So there mustn't be a misconception that, we are not stable or whatever the case may be. No, we've taken this issue of the list very seriously. The members and the comrades who were sworn in, it was communicated to them. They did receive letters. So it cannot be something of some sort of an epiphany that we just decide, to just remove people. That's not true. That's a wrong perception to leave. They knew. Because the names, by the way, that are coming in right now, the names that were supposed to be in the first place.
So, Ntlamulo, allow me to come in there. Pardon me. Who are these individuals? I've got a couple of questions to what you just said. Who are these individuals who doctored the list?
We open up a case, and it's under police investigation. We cannot talk about the details of that investigation, other than to say we opened up the case at the Sandton police station. We can share the case number. Actually, I think we've actually shared a case number at one point. We released a statement regarding this issue. But such is the case, and that's where we're at.
And who then had given this particular instruction on which names should have been added? Was this former President Jacob Zuma, or was it the entire leadership?
No, as you know, we throughout our campaign, we've had a strategy, one to engage with religious leaders, traditional leaders, and so on and so forth. And which is a promise we made, because we said their voices are not heard in Parliament, and our leadership in Parliament ought to be reflective of society. So that is obviously a broken promise if we don't fulfill on that. And that would be a place to start, including certain, former executives of state-owned entities that you've seen some of the names, like Montana and the likes, Brian Molefe. who are strong and who understand what we're trying to achieve here. And that's that. Nothing more, nothing less. The decision to include those people is not a President Zuma decision. It was a leadership of the party decision. We sat and we crafted exactly who and how we're going to go about it. For instance, President Zuma was not supposed to be there. That was not our strategy. Our strategy was that President Zuma was going to surface, again, surprise, surprise, at the point at which we are in power.
Ntlamulo Ndlela, a very good afternoon to you, sir. Thanks very much for your time. This is unheard of.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers. Why would you say it's unheard of? No, it is. It's possible, it's allowed per the parliamentary rules that you can replace members sworn in or not on the National Assembly. And this is what we're doing. I think maybe let's put context to this.
What happened?
Our candidate lists that were submitted to the IEC, in effect, was sabotaged. We even opened the case to that extent at the Sandton police station.
All right, man. You heard it for yourself, Ntlamulo. They're just responding to the media inquiries and, of course, related to this matter of the removal of the MPs who have been sworn into Parliament. So let's talk about it. So ahead of the elections, the IEC will request that parties submit their party lists. And, of course, their party lists were submitted ahead of the elections, and the number of people that were seen on the party lists were evident, were even clear to everyone who is on the party list. But then what happened was there were a couple of changes, and the IEC requests that parties cannot submit the list, and then once the list is submitted, that they cannot necessarily tamper with the list unless the members cease to be members of the party and there are reasons given and et cetera, and then only then can the list be tampered with. But let's take you back. So the MK party, so this is how it started, right? So the first tampering of the list. So this was to get Utata John Hlophe. Remember, he was not on the list of the party. There were also talks that Mogoeng, former judge Mogoeng would possibly be on the MK list and lead the party in Parliament, but that never went. It never happened. And of course, Jacob Zuma opted for the wise John Hlophe to rather represent and lead the party in Parliament. So what happened to get him in, to get him and maybe a bunch of other people in? Remember, now it's the second time they are now tampering with the list. So I'm telling you about the first time, right? So the MK party instructed more than 100 members to withdraw from its reserve list of parliamentary candidates who to unlawfully replace them with 21 new people, including impeached Judge Hlophe, who looks set to be SA's leader of opposition in the National Assembly. So this article was obviously on the 24th of June. This was before they accepted that they would be sworn into Parliament. Remember, there was that friction as well. So this is how Jacob Zuma's party maneuvers its way to make last-minute changes to its parliamentary lists, which was already gazetted by Chief Justice Raymond Zondo 2 weeks ago. An insider close to the process confirmed the law states that the list may not be changed for at least 12 months after being gazetted, unless a member resigns, allowing the party to supplement it with its new names. The party announced at the weekend that Hlophe would be its leader on the opposition benches. His swearing in on Tuesday comes just months after Parliament voted to impeach him. The Judicial Service Commission in 2021 found Hlophe guilty of gross misconduct. What the MK party did in this instance is to remove all the members from the reserve list with more than 120 members and replace them with these 21. So the 21 replaced the members who were removed and supplemented the list, because once you remove all of them, how you do is that you get all of them to write or say that they are not available or interested in taking up the positions anymore. Imagine convincing members to say that they are not interested anymore when they have campaigned so much for the organization. And then all of them are not available, which means that the party does not have a reserve list, said the insider. The law says that if you have a reserve list or the reserve list is depleted, then you must supplement it, and you are allowed to supplement it within 12 months after the elections. That's exactly what the MK party did. They eliminated those people and then supplemented it with 21. The MK party national spokesperson, Ndlela, said that they did not have a reserve or supplementary list before cutting the call and saying that he had another interview. All right. He rejected calls. Okay. Parliament spokesperson Moloto Multapo on Sunday had confirmed that Hlophe would be sworn in. So I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that, so actually Mutapo said, as long as supplementations are in line with the Electoral Act, Parliament does not get involved in who takes over the spot on the party list. So now, this is the second time that the MK party is now saying that, no, we are recalling our 20 members. And they have their own reasons why. And I'll talk about them. But firstly, members of the MK have been expressing their views on social media and saying how disappointed they are. But look, you hear it from them. Let's take a listen to what they have to say. Let's go.
Zuma is removing 18 parliamentarians out of the parliament. Their contract is terminated. Is going to terminate their contract. It means that 18 people from MK will be jobless after being appointed for 2 months. Then one can say, we would used to tell you guys to say this organization is not the organization that we know like other organizations. This is a personal property, comrade. Whatever Zuma said, this must be removed. Imagine removing 18 people out of parliament. It's no longer normal. So guys, please, I want you to press the plus sign and also love my video. Thank you very much. But for Zuma, the organization, MK is a dramatic organization.
Abanye benu bayokhala amazwi lawo ashiwo umongameli womkhonto wesizwe esaselapha ya eqenjini asuka kulona elaziwa ngokuthi kagogo. Cha, bakwethu esivuka nazo namhlanje ukuthi dust isiqhumile kabi. Akhona amadoda betha comment lapha kuma portfolio wathi lixoshiwe nina anisewona amalungu eParliament. Kuthiwa no, cha akulona uhlonzo olufuneka eParliament lolu. Abahambe laba bawuvusa ama branch mhlambe bangacontest ubukhansela basuke baphoseka kabi baphoseka ekugcineni kwezwe eParliament. Sebebuyisiweke 20 members have been dismissed, fired, recalled from Mkhonto wesizwe party kwi-National Assembly. Tu phansi umthwalo kubi bakwethu ziyabhebha South Africa.
Hey, isiZulu sithi ohlabe yakhe akalelwa. Ohlabe eyakhe akalelwa ngoba phela usuke ihlabe yakhe. Naloku ke sikubona kwenzeka kwi-MK ayikho into esingayisho. Ohlabe yakhe akalelwa. Ayikoda bandla kubuhlungu. 18 members of legislature representing the MK have been recalled. It's not just a deployment to be a member of parliament. Kwamba ne package eshintsha impilo yakho. Makuthi namhlanje izovela kuthiwe nje awuseyona imember yeParliament. Awusifake lezo icathulo. Ubusene ubudgetile for 5 years ukuthi kuzoba kanje impilo yakho. Usubukile ukuthi naloko ungaka-afford okunye usuze waqala ukudeposit sekuthiwa hayi ehla. Bafowethu niyokhuluma nje phela ngane yakuthanda ukukhuluma nisho nithi hayi deployment lena akuyona employment. Awufake ecathuleni zakhe. akufake icatulweni zomunye walapha ungitshela ukuthi ubungakuthatha nokuthi I know it's just a deployment. It's painful. It's painful. Uma ungathi nje kukhona omaziyo thina bakhona ke sibaziyo because amanye ama-cadres sisebenzile nawo amanye sesiwabongela. Congra namhlanje it's a history.
All right, man. You heard for yourself, members of the MKP on social media saying all sorts of things. Kimazulu ndata kwatile nomba nakhanore mukonto wabagwaza mukonto. Hey, mukonto na ubu dangerous. I'm telling you, man. I saw the regional secretary of the ANC welcoming some members of the MK in Johannesburg in Orange Farm just last week. And of course, so many more members are going to be coming back or going to the ANC. And of course, remember, they've got dual membership. Some of them, they never got rid of their membership cards. They were jumping ship, hoping that they are going to climb the ladder into parliament very quickly. And of course, quickly has that wall or maybe has that ladder fallen down very quickly. So, okay, so let's say, for argument's sake, that these people are recalled, and of course, we know that they are going to be. The member of the Speaker of Parliament has already notified them. And I mean, this is very sad because these are family members, these are husbands, these are mothers, these are, these are breadwinners. And now the breadwinners are going to be without work. But who could possibly be replacing them? Who could possibly be replacing these people? Is it because maybe if you look at Parliament and you look at the member of debates, then the quality of debates from within members of the MK, that it's just been a plain shame because some of them cannot simply articulate themselves and they just howl and loud. And so maybe that's why. Could it be that they are not prepared to give about 50% of their earnings to the party itself? And of course, this is a party that no constitution is clear enough for them. We're not sure what is their constitution. We're not sure if they've got an office. We're not sure if they've got structures that are solid on the grounds and provincial offices and regional offices. We don't know. But clearly, some say that there are no structures. So everything gets run from Nkandla. All right. So now there's also, you heard there that there was tampering of lists from Untamolo earlier on. Now, one begs to ask these questions because the SG of the party, right? In fact, before I get there, the SG of the party was, he had resigned. Was he forced to be resigned? Was he forced to resign? Or did he resign out of goodwill? So we don't know. And then also, I want you to take a listen to this before I go through to this article here, because there are people that are meant to replace those who have just been recalled. And I'll take you through some of the names. Let's go.
Oh, sebeyazonto abakayikhonje ukuthi uZwane uxoshelweni. Angibatshela ukuthi uxoshelweni kuZwane ngoba bazi ukuthi uxoshelweni bazi ukuphikisa incwadi ayina watermark signature fake letter abantu abaseqenjini abangazikwenzakala ngeqembu labo. If you keep them updated yazi nina umuntu ethi uyanizama ngene ehlathini kakhulu uxoshelweni uZwane. Nanso into efana ngiphendule manje icala likaZwane. uZwane ngesikhathi ukuhlela ama negotiations uZwane uyena umuntu oyinjini yeqembu. uZwane uyena umuntu obetshela umongameli uNcamalala ukuthi aye kumuphi umhlangano. uZwane wadukisa uNcamalala wamshonisa emhlanganweni orong. Umhlangano orong wawuphi na? Umhlangano wawuse Richards Bay. Wayakhona uZwane Richards Bay emhlanganweni wayisa uNcamalala emhlanganweni. iIFP yalinda 4 hours. So ke into eyenzekile manje iMK isithe Zwane wena umuntu responsible ukuthi iqembu lingakwazi ukuthi lihole province ngoba walindisa umkhuleko hlangano nomongameli wa FP neteam lama negotiations za FP ufwa waze hotel yasithi MK Zwane wena uzophena isiyaxolisa ku FP siyasho ukuthi wena obo responsible ngokuthi uhole liqembu eyibini ngakho ke sikhomba indlela mangede sixoshela ukuthi wali ngabe iqembu liphethe iprovince ngoba iFP yeza engxoxweni ze MK yabenzela phansi so IFP ayinalo icala neMK City ayinalo icala ngoba iGNU izowa nje khona okuzokwenzeka abafana lindelana njengoba nginikeza nje ngempukane zehlazo ukuthi iGNU iyaqhaqhazela iGNU iyanyakaza iIFP ibuyele ekhaya njengamanje uZwane uyena wadele owenza owalidela iqembu eyibini ukuthi aholele angayisa umongameli meetingini ahambise umongameli emhlangano no-wrong angahambisa ungamalala la ilindwe khona siyabonga ningizima Afrika.
All right, man. You heard for yourself, members of the MK, man. They never cease to surprise us with what they had to say. And of course, we don't know if Papa Penny is going to be among those who are going to make their way through to Parliament because, wow. So former CEOs of state-owned enterprises indicated in fraud and corruption may be headed to Parliament on the MK party's ticket. Ditsotsi, magodu, magentsa, di mafia, dia parlamenteng jano. In an unsurprising move that will shake South Africa's political landscape, the Umkhonto weSizwe party, the Government of National Unity's official opposition, is reportedly planning to bring several controversial figures to Parliament. Among these slated the parliamentary seats are former Eskom CEO Brian Molefe could be making his way through to Parliament. Remember, Brian was in Parliament, brought in by the ANC. He was a backbencher, but then again he resigned. And now Brian is with the MK. No surprise to all of us, man. Of course, who else is joining Brian Molefe of the corrupt individuals that turned the state into a mess? So former Prasa CEO Lucky Montana, the Mr. bought us 120, was it 1.2 billion or was it 120 billion that he spent on trains that were higher than the normal train size? Can you imagine this nigger still walking around? Lucky Montana, the former Transnet CEO Siyabonga Kama, the guys that brought us a shame to our rail network and allowed our rail infrastructure to just deteriorate and to be vandalized. Under their watch, these men are now possibly going to join Jacob Zuma's party in Parliament, MKP, all of whom have previously faced charges of fraud and corruption relating to the state-owned enterprises they once led. Okay, they haven't been charged, I guess. Or did they? Did they go to court? Were they found guilty? I don't know. But where there is smoke, there is fire. Adding to the controversy is the inclusion of individuals who appear to have close familial ties to the MK party's leadership. The proposed list seen by the Daily Maverick. Hey, the Daily Maverick. They investigate anything and everyone. They got everyone. And they... So they've seen this list, and the submitted to Parliament suggests that the new members may include relatives of the party's parliamentary chief whip, Sihle Ngubane, who is the current chief whip of the MKP, and a relative of a party leader, Jacob Zuma. These implications of these connections have fueled accusations of nepotism and have exacerbated tensions within the party. The Daily Maverick has further learned that former South African Reserve Service Commissioner, the very corrupt Tom Moyane, who was also expected to take up a seat in Parliament, has decided to withdraw from the consideration. Instead, Moyane will pursue other interests, including activities within the party. The proposed changes are outlined in letters dated the 5th of July, in which Ngubane informed the National Assembly Speaker Tokoti Diza of the removal of certain members and their proposed replacements. The MK party made headlines for abruptly moving more than a dozen MPs ostensibly to make way for figures like Molefe, a move that outraged many within the party. Parliament has confirmed that it has received correspondence from the MK Party advising the Speaker of its decision to remove 15 of its public representatives from the National Assembly. According to the Constitution, a person loses membership if the National Assembly, if they cease to be a member of the party that nominated them to Parliament. Remember, Jabulani Khumalo also tried to take to be sworn in Parliament, but then, of course, Parliament could not swear him in simply because he ceased to be a member of the party, so they dealt with him internally in the party. Simultaneously, the Speaker has received email correspondence of persons on the party's reserve list. So it means that they now have a reserve list indicating that the unavailability to fill any vacancies in the National Assembly. The statement from Parliament reads, the emails were submitted through the party's chief whip in Parliament. The Speaker is currently considering these correspondence. A decision will be made in due course. The sudden and drastic purge has led to allegations of cronyism and internal power struggles. Aggrieved party members have accused Ngubane and Zuma's daughter, Duduzile Sambudla Zuma, of orchestrating the ousting of MPs to consolidate their own influence within the party. Sambudla Zuma has denied any involvement in the matter. There are also claims that the party leaders, Jacob Zuma, is unaware of the changes. We met with the president following the swearing in, and he was happy with us. He never discussed any of these new changes, said one MP who lost their seat. Now, this contradicts what Ntamulo said earlier on. Of course, he tried to defend the decision they've made as a party, but how can people take up seats in Parliament if they knew that they were going to be fired? Why would they even do that and disrupt their lives for 2 months and move into parliamentary homes and get accreditation cards and get all these things knowing very well that they're going to be fired? Anyway, all right. Speaking on behalf of the MK Party, Ntamulo defended the decision to replace the MPs, stating that those affected were aware of the impending removal and were advised not to proceed with their swearing in. They were further advised not to proceed to avail themselves for the swearing in. If they so wished, proceed with understanding that they would be replaced at the later stage pending a parliamentary procedures. Ndlela also alleged that the MK Party's IEC list had been compromised by saboteurs who populated it with friends, family members and neighbors. He claimed that even Zuma's inclusion on the list was premature and that the plan was to introduce him later, as was done with former Judge Hlophe. A case regarding the list has reportedly been opened at the Sandton police station.
In effect, was sabotaged. We even opened the case to that extent, at the Sandton police station, where we cited certain irregularities of names that were input there that were not supposed to be there. One of those being the prominent President Zuma. I mean, our strategy was never to have him on the list in the first place, and only to then bring him on later stage, as we did with Judge Hlophe.
The letter to the chief whip to Parliament was leaked, and certain terminated members further leaked them to social media. Is this ill-discipline or rogue behavior that led to the spurious, misleading reports? Ndlela added. The MK Party is yet to finalize its constitution and led by an interim leadership. So, in the meantime, while that's taking place, let's take a listen to this one.
The Secretary-General of Umkhonto weSizwe Party, Arthur Zwane, has resigned from the party. Zwane cites the volume of work in the office for his decision to leave. This clashes with his business interests that he is pursuing. Now, in this letter sent to party leader Jacob Zuma on Monday, Zwane said he was resigning with immediate effect. Zwane says he still remains a member of the party. He will be available to assist with MK organizational matters.
Asikho ngempela inkantolo mayibabuza imibuzo ebuza ukuthi ni aphila kanjani lento ngoba icace ibha hayi bahlulekile nabo ukuphendula kwasho ukuthi siphethe uqweqe udali walibe bakhumbuze njalo.
I always tell people that, uma ulalelwe upresident we-IFP uHlabisa, he sounds so genuine and convincing. Ungaze ufunge ukuthi i-electronic ikhuluma iqiniso. So now you are moving from a premise yokuthi shame uconvinced ukuthi i-electronic ikhuluma iqiniso, but nonetheless, let's give you the truth. I-electronic must not lie. Yeah, but I like the Hrodman, and I like he's very neat and he's very respectful and so on. So you must carry through that kind of conduct. He must not lie.
The SG was fired. Okay, remember the SG was brought in when Sihle Ngubane went to Parliament. Of course, he resigned as a SG. Now this begs the question, because if you look at parties and how they function, generally the SG is the one that handles the issues of membership, the issues of lists, the issues of branches and so on. Okay, the internal organization, the SG is normally like the driver of the party itself, right? So the SG at the time, one would have thought that Sihle Ngubane was the one who worked on the list that went through, that included him, Ndlela, Duduzile, as well as all the other members. It was him that also should have been responsible for the alterations of that list. Remember, I said they then had to make changes on the list itself that went through to Parliament using the reserve list. And of course, he went to Parliament. Then he left those responsibilities as SG. Then there's a new guy who came in. He got fired once again.
For those who voted for the MK, please come here. Hayibo, saya vota lapho we don't even know where their offices are. The headquarters of the MK, we don't know them. But just because in Baba we trust. Hayibo,
phela mangabe umhola fanele ukhulume njalo uhlele so-ofisini shothi umuntu ongasebenzi yabo ngisembe ivili ke namhlanje la ngikhuluma khona honorable members kune-media statement that was released on the 8th, that means yesterday, from the office of the spokesperson Mr. Nhlambulo Ndlela. It's a statement on members replaced as members of parliament. Umkhonto wesizwe party has not a superstitious scheme circulating on media around members of parliament that have been expelled. This is contrary to the truth. On the swearing day of the 25th of June 2024, 12 members were informed that will be replaced as if they wish to proceed, with the understanding that they will be replaced at later stage. Pending the parliamentary procedure, it is also important to note that leading up to the elections, the MK party IEC list was comprised by spontaneous who went on to populate on the IEC system with the list of their friends, family members and neighbors. Hayibo, twake list yokuqala ayibhalwe abantu befaka abangani babo, befaka abafazi babo, twakwenziwa abantu abebhala ilist ye-IEC lokho umuntu wayenikeza ithuba. Unobhala omdala lo waxoshwa. Umtshele ukuthi ugoba chef lo wenza la umanyala. Babefaka uyena ke labantu abaxoshiwe. Bekufanele MK ibashintshe ukuthi baxoshiwe. Babevele bengeniswe nje umkhonyovu kalo wabhudo samxosha. The first nobhala oqala unobhala ugoba chef uJojo. Uyena oqala samxosha. Uyena wenza lento ayenza la. The MK party, we made a promise to our people that we will have members of parliament who will be reflective of the society, which is exactly what we aim to achieve and will continue to do. A case has been opened at the Sentin police station regarding the list. The chief whip of the Party National Assembly wrote the letter to the Speaker requesting that the same members to be replaced by the MK members. These letters were only proceeded yesterday, and letters termination were sent to individual members by the Speaker of the National Assembly. Subsequently, the letter of the chief whip of Parliament was leaked and by the certain terminated members members further leak them to social media. It is this ill discipline and rogue behavior that has led a spurious, misleading report. We placed it on record that all internal MK party process were followed. All replaced members were informed of their intention to replace them as MK party, representing the MK party in parliament. We have a tough task ahead of restoring the dignity of the marginalized and fighting for the return of the land and to the rightful owners. We will continue to fight the change. To change our country. Issued by the party office of the spokesperson umnumzana uNhlamulo Ndlela labantu abaxoshiwe ke sengichazile isigisi ngiyangisatolika nje mfowethu nani nizweleke.
Man, welcome back to it. And of course, you heard for yourself the shenanigans, the drama, the conspiracies, the action, the drama, the adventure, all of that and more. That's what's happening in the MK, man. All these things are happening in the MK party. And of course, let me take a look at some of the comments that come from you, because now you always have a lot to say as members of the public. And of course, as members of the MKP, you've always got something to say. All right, so Pertu says, I heard they refused to give 50% of their salaries to Zuma. And he laughs. And then sisazizwa indaba bathunywe ugwai babuya. No, I don't want to butcher isiZulu. No. There were just chaos in the Stockfell. That says Wendy Licious. Is Papa Penny safe? Papa Penny, is he going to be safe? WWW says Udoti Leanto MK Ihlati Lehlangano. Confused Baba Silindile Baba lisazodlala ifilimi. All right. Mzi says it's a one-man show. No constitution, no leadership conference held, and this, by the looks of things will never happen, 100%. Tabi Shange says, I'm in a very small mind and I'm so disappointed. The former CE, former judge advocates the people respected for their brains are consumed by anger, bitterness. Wow. Ramza says, Eish Baba, Kamtwana, uyahlupha man, Paula, Mpumulo. Some MKP members are trying to justify what Zuma has done to these people. It is really painful. What a shame on Zuma. Tulile says, Waisho lento ukhulumalo. Waisho lento ukhumalo. User 9071111 says, 7771. Imagine those members who have already bought suits, houses, high places, big cars. It's very sad. Vuyo says, where there is Zuma, there is no peace. Bange Nombi says, Musa says, EMK is not just a political party, it's a revolution movement. Ranwa ama former MK soldiers. Nisazo mangala ziyakhala ngempela manje. Mzimba says, we are told you about this MK, Zuma's MK is Duduzile, also recalled. Bongani then says, Duduzile is the shadow president, she is untouchable. Zola says, reshuffle is his game. Last comment, Mkucha Mantuswa says, MK party is not a child's play. Loyalty is everything. Nomsakunene says, oh, my vote, I'm going back to the ANC shem. Gugu Shabalala says, Upeni akapalwanga guleyo list. Okay, my very last comments. I wasted my vote. Bandla, should have voted for ATM. Okay, I can't read these other ones. So I'm going to leave it right there. All right, so that's how I come to the end of it, man. Of course, this is a free read podcast on a Saturday morning breakfast, and of course, I'm having my medicine right here. Because I don't know what the other MK members are going to do, man. I don't know what they're going to do, those members of parliament. Because now they must go and lick their wounds, go back to reality, and of course, go back to the ground. And of course, you know, these things happen, man. It's just so sad, you know. Politics, when you belong to a political party, they can recall you. And this is just what happened to those members of the MK. All right. Thank you very much for watching, for listening, for tuning in. And I really appreciate all your comments. And of course, do engage with me. And of course, tell others about the show. And go and make sure that you subscribe, because at least about 70% of you guys that come and watch this content are not subscribers to this show. And of course, the more you subscribe, the better I'm going to bring the show. And of course, thank you very much. Mudimuko.
Oi, tu. Viva! Viva King Sebeta! Viva! Viva! Sibonge comrades. That one, it's our own national anthem, Yomkondo Wesizwe. Yethu lesa iona. Abasithathe abasize enkantolo sithe yethu. Sizolwina nalo lelo futhi. Sibingelele uKing Sabata is in the house.